On the escalator again.
Leave it alone.
What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
There's a little boy caught the escalator.
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Woo! Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hello.
What's going on there? Ready?
Yay! Cheers.
Cheers, man.
I'm
What's
sunburnt.
happening?
I'm not a lobster. I'm just sunburnt. So you see, we do get sun here in Canada. So when I
Well,
lived
you know
in
what?
New Jersey, people were like, "Yeah, so it's just like snow there all the time, right?" It's like, no, we actually have some really hot times.
You
Look at
know
my face.
You know what cracks me up about that is that in America,
Mhm.
they go,
Mhm.
you guys don't you don't get any sun up there. Yet
Mhm.
half of like America is under Canada.
Mhm.
So like Minnesota and the Dakotas, they're further north than Toronto or any of those places. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
Toronto. Toronto. It's like I just did a run across the country, man, and I'm telling you, it snowed everywhere, including that 2 hours that we were together. It was like shitty and kind of weird. Like it was just never got good temperature anywhere.
Yeah, this weekend was amazing here in Kingston, Ontario. Holy, I got look at my face. I was out there drinking my dad beer, and I did tons of yard work. My yard looks great. Mother's Day, barbecued up a storm for her. It was awesome. My daughter was home for a bit, and then she got called to
She's somewhere.
Nashville. She's in Nashville. She got called to Nashville.
I saw that she was doing a thing, and I was like, "What are you doing down there?" She's like, "I'll tell you soon."
Yeah, so she got called to Nashville. So she flew out of Nashville this morning, first thing this morning, or to Nashville. Flew out of Toronto to Nashville this morning. So she's in Nashville. I don't even know what she's doing either. She's doing like some gig.
Yeah,
But I don't know what the band is. I think it might be a band that even if she told me, I would be like, oh yeah.
sure.
I might not know. But man, it's warm here. It's awesome. I tell you, dude. So I was out there. Today's Monday. So Saturday, did a full day of yard work and it was great. I love it. You know, I'm getting some weeds out and trimming up the trees and going at the gardens, putting in some fresh flowers, pulling out some dead ones, drinking a whole lot of beer. It was great. And then the next day was Mother's Day. So I went out there and did the same thing up until about like 3:00. And then I just barbecued out in the sun. Literally.
Yeah.
literally barbecued.
Yourself.
Yeah, I woke up today and I was like, I actually did a COVID test just to make sure because I felt like I got run over by a truck this morning. I was like, what the hell? So I did a COVID test just to make sure because, you know, that's a good thing to do with if you want to be a member of society. So I did my COVID test and I'm not COVID active. I'm just sunburnt. And yeah, we get sun in Canada.
You're just sunburnt and you've been playing all the hockey. So your body's going, what are you doing to me?
I had all the energy to do the yard work. I had
Yeah.
all this energy to do the yard work. I was getting up early thanks to hockey. You know, it's great. Wow, I feel good. Feel amazing. Hockey is
My season's over. So I that's it. I played like 18 games and
Yeah.
I think we lost in the playoffs there in the second round or
bad.
something like that. So that's always fun, but I never get a full season in. It's just never I got to pay for a full season, which puts me on the team.
Mhm.
I've been on the team for 12 years, 13 years.
Yeah.
But the spots are generally so coveted. You got to lock your spot in or you're going to lose it. So anyway, so yeah, I never really get to play the playoffs ever. I'm always away on tour. And then with the COVID thing, we never did anything. So it's just
Right.
like,
There's always like a shinny game going on here because there's like 6 ice pads behind me at the Invista Center. Right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I looked it up online. It was like, wow, you could just, if you have $5 or $10, you can basically go play like a shinny game of hockey anytime you want. Basically, it's crazy. There's so much going on. Yeah.
There's
So
always
I haven't been able to do my Monday one with the old dudes because of the workshop I'm doing today. I have a workshop in the last, and then I'll be getting back to that. But Thursdays, man, I'm hitting it. I'm back. I'm actually I'm much like so much better. It's crazy. Like seriously, dude. Like I got to get just control. This goalie last game just I could not score on him. I had 2 breakaways. I had like a couple passes right to me.
Yeah.
And it was just like to the point where I was just like, I was yelling like, I can't score on this guy. He was loving it. But I'm loving playing hockey again. I highly suggest if you are thinking about playing a sport, you're getting older, get back in there. There's lots of spots in this world for you to get active again. And I still drink beer. I still enjoy my cannabis, but I'm also very very into hockey. And now I find myself in the driveway, out there with the stick, working on my moves, shooting it off the car, shooting it off the roof, shooting it off the house, occasionally off the door. And then my wife comes out and yells at me, "What are you doing? I thought somebody was banging on the door." Used to be the garage door that my mom and dad would come out and be like, "Oh my God, Chris," because there'd be all these tennis ball marks all over the white garage door.
My old my roommate Scott Wiley, who you know, he's replacing the garage door at his house in Port Perry, and he put a video up and let all the kids come from the neighborhood and take shots at the thing to like blow the thing up, right? Because he's taking the whole thing off. So he just got these videos like 4 kids just taking slap shots with hard pucks on the cheap entertainment that we do here in Canada.
Yeah, well, at least in Port Perry.
That's in Port Perry. Now, I wanted to go with Nerds on Ice to kind of kick it off and talk about our Leafs in Tampa, but I'm going to wait because we have a guest coming on today who thought he could make it, then didn't think he could make it, and has now made it. So with keeping in mind that you're going to launch a brand new show soon about conspiracy theories and all the rest of it, but just in general, we haven't had him on in a while, and he's a good buddy of the show. He's been touring. I've been touring. We've been out doing stuff. And he made some time for us today. He's been our number. Well, him being on our show, the episode that he was on our show is our biggest YouTube play. It's got the most plays. It's the biggest one. Thanks for coming back. What's up, buddy? What's up? How you doing, man?
Awesome. I am. I'm doing well. I literally just got home from a 6-week tour, and it's good to be home. But it's also, considering the last 2 years we've all been living in, it's been great to actually have a proper full-length tour.
Nice. Isn't that something? What a feeling that was, right? But anyways, you were out. I call it the snap because I haven't lived here in Kingston long, and they're like, "How long have you lived here for?" And it's like, "Well, I've been here for about 5 years." Oh, but then there was the snap, right? So you got to take 2 years off of that. So I've been here for like 3.
It's one of those things too, where it's like I had the privilege of doing about 75 shows through the pandemic, a lot of the drive-in outdoor type stuff, like these hybrid shows. And but when it got back to the big arenas, like the A markets, we like to call them, it was really cool seeing a lot of the same people back there, considering a lot of people in this industry changed jobs or whatever. And literally, like 3 shows ago, one of my friends there, and he's the one that actually sent me to a local comic book shop, and he's like backstage supervisor, and I go, "Man, it feels so good to be home." And he said to me, "Man, it's like Thanos just snapped everyone back into place, and here we are." And it was one of those funny, but it was also really cool that, when something gets taken from you, you can't do it for so long, but able to jump back into what you do, what you love, you are able to just kind of jump right into place. And yeah, there's some trepidation here and there in different places, but to have people so excited to be back doing what they love and passionate about it, it's really good. And the other thing too about touring, I got back into Magic the Gathering with Barry Church from Shinedown, and we spent more time in comic book stores and these boutique coffee game stores on this last run, and it really hammered home the idea of I love gaming, I love all the nerd stuff, I love looking at action figures, and it's great to do it again finally.
Yeah, man.
Are we about to become best friends? What's going on here, man? Because that's like, I just came from teaching a comic book workshop at a comic book store, and beside us was just like a couple guys, gaming, playing some kind of gaming. They had a card game going on, and my kids that I was teaching were we take a break, and then go, "Well, who's winning, guys?" And like, "Well, we're not sure if there's a winner right yet." They'd explain it to the kids what was going on. But what a great atmosphere, my friend. That is, it is a great spot to go to and chat with people. It's an awesome spot.
It's one of those things too, where it's like if you looked at Barry and Barry from Shinedown, you would be like, these people do not play. Well, maybe Barry, because he looks like a cast member from Lord of the Rings, maybe with his hair. But you look at someone like me, it's like, man, there's no way. This person has no idea what a mana pool is. He has no idea what these dice do, like all these different classes and all this. But I found that the nerd community, it's any person, a doctor, a lawyer, a touring musician, whoever it is. I just love that there's no like fear. You can be yourself, and it's fun just to nerd out. I mean, I'm literally probably if this tour was a week longer, I would have dressed like an elf or a druid or something.
Yeah.
Because it's like we just love it. It's just really fun times.
Well, you know who else? It's funny because here in Kingston, I'll go to the downtown store, and it's huge with all the little figures and everything for the role playing and the game playing, Warhammer and stuff. And the army guys, man, they love it. They come in there and they're like, "Wow, do you got this put aside for me?" And I'm talking like armfuls, dude, armfuls of it. They just love it. So you're right. You're totally right. It's all different people, like not just the college kids here in the university, and not just like the hardcore comic geeks like myself, man. It's really branching across.
I mean, I don't think I'm close enough yet to where I'm going to start painting figurines.
Mm-hmm.
But when that gets there, maybe I'll jump back out here and paint with you guys. I don't know. It's just I joke about it all the time. But growing up, I loved like all like the He-Man to Thundercats, all the way to like the Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Star Wars, even Marvel now, and all this stuff. The idea of being fantasy and portraying someone in a world that's not really make believe, yet the irony of that is you really are being yourself in that world. And I just again, it's been a blessing to finally be out there with my friends touring, going to the movies. We all rented the theater and saw the new Doctor Strange. We saw the new Nick Cage movie. So we do all these days off where it's like, hey, let's go to a coffee shop and bring Settlers of Catan and play for 8 hours. Let's go play Monster or Boss Level, the game kind of like the Monster Dungeon game or whatever it is. And it's like, man, it feels good to have that inner child still prevalent in our lives.
Nice.
Well, there's permission for us all to love that again. There was never like, I mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons growing up, and that was like you did that over there, man. You don't tell people that you do that.
Certain friends you couldn't.
But there's like things, nothing. I'm not doing nothing, And then the Saturday night's main event wrestling and all the rest of it. People are starting to go, I don't know if we're going to go over to his house because he does all the nerd stuff. But now it's such a thing, and it's such a part of the culture, and it's made the nerdism, which I don't even know if that's a derogatory term. I don't even know what it is anymore. I mean, it's just life now. There's no such thing as a nerd anymore. Everyone's the same. Everyone generally loves something, and it's funny because even the jocks that used to beat up the nerds are going, "Oh man, I really like that Avengers movie, man." Like, you know what I mean?
Oh man, Thor's really muscular. What do he does for a workout?
Yeah,
for sure.
It's crazy. So yeah, you were out doing the thing, John, and you like me and seeing the world, which was I'll get you on the show to talk about just touring life and that side. But man, it must have felt good to be out there with the guys again. And I mean, it looked like they were doing some killer shows. The band's had a big song and a big release and everything. So and more ahead. So did you have to rack your brain to remember how to do this thing again? Or were you like, I got this, and I'm back into it?
It's like I said, I got to do a bunch of these shows I had those probably 6 months off at the start of the pandemic where I wasn't doing anything, which is why I started my podcast. But when I have found that if you love what you do, if you have a passion for what you do, and if you step away for a minute and jump back in there and that passion's still there, then there's nothing I really have to worry about. In terms of what my job is, nothing really changed in terms of what I need to do to be successful, to make sure the band and crew gets on and off stage, gets into their hotel rooms. That stuff never really changed. My passion actually grew for what I do. And I think maybe one of the if I call it a benefit of the shutdown, was that I was able to reset myself and be like, hey, if this never comes back, will I be mad and sad? And I would. And here I am, fortunate. Again, it's just great seeing people out there having a good time, enjoying the music. It's one of those things that I know we've talked about before, that the industry, music and the arts, when they all got shut down, you're kind of doctors can't prescribe music or entertainment or theater or whatever to help illness, but the people I've met along the way this last couple of years that finally got back to a show or started drinking or even just being there with their family for that one cathartic moment for a specific song. For me, it's just great seeing that again. And I think it's super powerful. I'm fortunate. And here we are living life.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Now, we're gonna get to some conspiracy stuff because Chris is gonna start. Chris is gonna start the a brand new conspiracy theory show that we'll get into. Which I
Cult of
think
Machete True Believers Club, I believe it's going to be.
that's right. It's
Cult of Machete.
The cult of Machete.
There is so much.
The thing is, I'm getting the old. I find in my late 40s now and up to my 50 now, I'm just really getting tired of not knowing things that I should have access to. And also lately, the one that's really sparked me lately was now these scientists going to Egypt and to the different pyramids in different places and butting heads with the archaeologists. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm finding that we may be close to actually getting some answers, hopefully. And there's so many things that I want to talk about with interesting people because it's another aspect of my life that I've never really been able to talk to anybody about because I've been around a smaller town, very, very hockey. I did well. I could talk about hockey with everybody and heavy metal music, but nothing like this. So I am so looking forward to trying to find out where we came from is one thing. The path of Viracocha is something I've always been so interested in. Lake Titicaca. I'm going to start with the moon, though. I think we're going to start with the moon, my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
dramatic pause.
Well, yeah, that right.
Dramatic pause, John.
Did we ever land on the moon? Did we ever land on the moon? It's to your point. The idea of let's take the moon for example. Mm-hmm. The fact that there's people out there that think that it was staged or it's not real or the moon is hollow. Or when they look at the footprints or the American flag not blowing in the wind when it's got put on there or all this stuff, it's easy for us to just brush off, be like, oh, who cares? They're stupid. They're crazy people, whatever. But I've got to the point in my life now where it's like, I might think that, but why are they asking those questions? How come they got to the point where they can ask that question or are curious about that? Maybe I'm not looking at the full picture. And I think the moon, I mean, you could do a whole week on episodes just with the whole Stanley Kubrick and The Shining and all the stuff tied to the moon landing.
My favorite movie, my favorite movie.
And there's a great documentary based on The Shining that ties into his subliminal messaging to the moon landing and whether or not he was hired by the government to stage the moon landing. I can't think of the name of the I think it's a room number, I think, for the documentary.
Room 237.
There's just so much stuff out there for the moon. And the latest thing that everyone's talking about, like these food shortages, these plants going down all across the country and all these fires and warehouses going down. And when I first started seeing it, like, oh, people like, oh, they're burning down these warehouses. They're trying to create this need for provisions and they're trying to create a food shortage and supply shortage. And I hear that, I see it, and I'm like, man, these people are crazy. But then you start every other day, there's a fire. If you just scroll through any news site or whatever it is, I don't care what side you're on, just find a fire is lit, a warehouse goes down. Just yesterday, a huge warehouse distribution center in Walmart, and I think the South just went up in flames, which feeds like 4 other states. Wow. And you're kind of like, is this a conspiracy theory or is this just sheer coincidence? And so stuff like that's always happening. It's the whole thing is just crazy. I mean, you got the JFK, you got Bigfoot, you got every government entity that's ever happened, any event that's ever happened, you can question whether you should or you can't. But I love the idea that you're putting yourself out there to actually learn about this stuff. And you're not here. This isn't about picking sides. It's about, I want to understand why you think this way. Here's why I think this way. And actually, what the hell is going on?
Exactly.
And like the other day, I'm trying to get Grant Hancock on my podcast because I love the idea of the pre-civilization flood and like all these layers where the water was. Yeah. And he actually had a great appearance on Joe Rogan and another podcast too. But it's people look at him and go, "Man, you're crazy! Like just accept what the science and the archaeologists, these people have told you." Well, what if it isn't that way? And I love the idea that people put themselves out there to think differently. Yeah. Now, there are people out there that think completely wacko, crazy stuff that you're borderline psychotic, and I don't get that drift. But it's okay to question these cool things. And hey, so what if you question it? Doesn't mean we think the Earth is flat or it's not flat. But why do you think the Earth is flat, Kyrie Irving? Please tell me, because I want to know. I want to know, because I don't look at it that way. What are you seeing that's different than me? And I think your podcast would be awesome for that.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I'd like to see what motivates these people. Okay, here's exactly what you said. Like, you nailed it, my friend. That was brilliant. Here's what you think. That's great. Now, what is motivating you to think that way? And you're right. I don't want to judge anybody. I just want to hear these different views, because there is so much out there. Like, just like the moon. The one thing that I was looking at the moon was, I want to look at why. Like, the top 3 reasons why possibly we haven't been back there. Like, was there a warning when we were out there not to go back to the moon? Are we still out there? Are they underground? There's a few things I've researched about that I found super interesting. Super interesting. I like the idea that somebody warned us to stay off of there, just as being a comic book writer, the fact that, hey, the moon's great and everything. By the way, somebody's watching us right now. And then, they get the transmission saying, yeah, you guys are not welcome here again. If you do come back, and there's going to be trouble. We've seen what you've done on your planet. You're using weapons and such, and we're going to keep you on your planet. And we're going to be watching you here from the moon. I love that theory. I think that is fantastic. As a writer, I love that, because I could take that so many places. But again, it could make sense. You know what I mean? It could make sense. We don't know, because we're lied to so much, right? And that's the thing. Really,
the one thing I want to add here, Chris, too, which is really interesting for the listener and the viewer. Yeah. John, again, we'll let go what he can let go, and talk about what he can let go, and give his beliefs on conspiracy stuff. But it's not like, like having John on our show. We have a guy on our show that might have more information about that stuff than most people, from the standpoint of giving us a smart take on what people might not be thinking about. And I think that's great, John, that you've got this, you got a little bit of maybe history in your, and as far as things that you could be like, yeah, I could buy into that theory, but have you thought about this, or have you thought about that? So I think I think you're the perfect first guest for Chris's show. I got to tell you that, John, if I'm going to be honest.
And I don't want to talk too much on the moon, because if it's going to be your first episode, but the idea, I've always thought, like, I know Elon Musk is in the news for whatever, Twitter, but the explorer side of things from SpaceX, you're telling me there's not 10 other people in the world with money that they don't have to be as rich as him, but they aren't exploring space? Or every time there's a launch in Florida or wherever from the Canaveral, you're seeing one thing go up. Like, are there other things going up at that same time? Why are we all fixating on this one launch when there could be 10 other ones going up? It just seems like there's, like, we've only been on the moon a handful of times, and here we are trying to send a rover to Mars. Don't you think we would be having a super center target on the moon by now? Like, I don't get why we're not going back up there. Is it because it's too easy, or there's nothing up there to learn from? Because there are people that outside my house now studying the sewer line for weeks on end, trying to figure out where water's coming in, yet we're not going to send more people up to the moon to figure out what it's made out of and all this stuff. And it's just, I don't know. You would think the idea of the sciences, exploration, and all this stuff, even the creation of the Space Force, that you're going to want to be up there more often and more prevalent. Like, what are you showing us? And man, I don't want to come off as a crazy person, but I always get I'm so fascinated when they send back pictures of Mars, and it's like, if they're really up there, and I'm not saying they are, because I want them to be everywhere. There's a handful of people that know what this actually looks like, and we're supposed to believe this is what they're sending us, is what they're seeing. Right. Like, what if they're on the moon and we saw people up there, or Mars, and there's water beds and there's sedimentary rock that have fossils on it, and we're kind of like, we can't show the people yet. I mean, we're barely declassifying UFO stuff here from U.S. battleships, and we're supposed. It's just, there's something so eerie and fascinating about space that I think. I mean, I just love watching people talk about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And on the other side of that, I'm starting to really get into is underwater. Like, whoa, the things that are underwater and how did that water get there? Like, it's amazing. This is what amazes me. Is why aren't more people looking into this? That's another thing that sparked my kind of not just curiosity, but kind of like, hey, wait a minute. Okay, this is great that the celebrity smacked another celebrity, but can we get back to finding out where we came from, please? Because I would love, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm getting a little, as I said, get a little older and get a little more frustrated with what everybody's important or what is important to everybody knowledge wise. And that's fine. If somebody wants to learn what the next celebrity is doing, that's great. But I feel that I can actually contribute to this now after really researching it for like a decade. Starting with the whole ancient aliens theory and starting, retelling of everything from a different perspective, just a different perspective on everything, looking at it from a different angle. And then again, that's what is this guy's different angle view on that? And the more I see that and the more I hear it, the more power I think everybody gets. Information, man.
Hey, John, did you have a moment? Did you have a moment like, it's no secret. Everyone knows your podcast and they know that you were a Secret Service and for the government and had a great position and all the rest of it. But when you went into that job, there had to be a certain amount of curiosity within you that you're like, man, if I could get access to that info, that'd be like the ultimate Stanley Cup win for you. You know what I mean? Like there's a little thing like my goal in my career was to do Wembley and I did Wembley. Next. Okay. I want to do this show next. So there's these levels. Chris wanted to put his own comic book out. Chris put his own comic book out and there's all these levels, but you going into that role, protecting a president, but also kind of having access to certain things. Was there a moment for you where you're like, man, if I could find that out, then I'm good?
I mean, some of that stuff is always like the JFK stuff or Area 51. But then you go back to like the guy that I can't even think of the guy's name that built the street structure in DC, like these tunnels and stuff that lead from the White House out 4 or 5 miles to clear the city. Like where after 9/11, I knew the city. This is all before I got in there. Like I knew the city had to put some defense measures up to prevent a plane hitting the White House or the Capitol. How is that set up? All this stuff where you're kind of like you read about, you see in news or comic books, and you watch TV and whatever stuff, and it's all referenced in pop culture. But when you actually get there, the whole thing, it's just a lot of the stuff I have questions on, I still have questions on, but I was able to see and do a lot of things that I think people, if they had the same experiences, would have a different appreciation towards, and I'm not going to say the government because I think the government jades everyone, right or wrong, but a great appreciation towards the history of this country or the history of the world in general. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's super interesting. Like I had when I got to do a trip with Obama, we go to Israel and stuff. We see the Wailing Wall, like the Gaza Strip and all this stuff. But I see all that stuff. I see like different stuff. But then as Ancient Aliens and other shows come on there, they start talking about these different eras and civilizations. And you start looking at it and go, man, what if? Like, what if this was here? Like, how did these people get there where they are now? And like, I don't know. It just, there's a lot of stuff I saw and did that I think would help people understand the history of the country better. But I mean, like you guys, the biggest conspiracy of the JFK stuff. And I think the answers are there. Someone has the answers. They know what happened. It's the idea of the smoke and mirrors and stuff. I don't think, I mean, the whole thing with declassification, and it's specific to everything. You can't really, they're only going to give you as much as they want to give you. And it's just enough to get you thinking, talking about it, shut up. Oh, okay, here comes a Will Smith slap. Let's smoke and mirrors again. We'll just put something else out there. It was cool. Like I have no regrets what I did in my career with the stuff I did.
Hey, I do have one because we've all watched this. I think, John, you've probably watched The Irishman. I mean,
that was a good movie. Yeah,
that was like
Jimmy Hoffa,
a nice little break. It wasn't even on the Hoffa thing. Hoffa is like, that's whatever. That's the simplest approach to the Hoffa thing, which was just, hey, Union had these guys had enough. That's it. We gave you every chance in the world to like just go retire on a beach, and your best friend just whacked you. Sorry, spoiler alert. But anyways, your best friend just whacked you. But the little lines that they've got in there about like, hey, his dad, put JFK in, or, with all these promises, and then Bobby and them turned on it. And it's as simple as that. It's like, your dad was supposed to protect this and this and this. We put you in there. You didn't follow up. You're done. And I'm like, that's as simple as it gets. That makes the most sense to me. But from a simple point, it was a really well done theory I liked. So,
I mean, it's yeah, no, you're right. It's all over too. Like it's there's so much, like what happened this past year in Canada. They found the children that were killed and buried underneath the schools, right? Or I think that's what the story was. But then you start doing research, and then people are like, well, this happened to this school, and it's like, who knew? Like, now maybe this is not a conspiracy theory, but when people start asking questions, you get labeled a quack because, oh, there's no way a government knew about these atrocities. Well, newsflash for you, it's happened in every country.
Absolutely.
So, like you said, like these little pieces of stuff that just ask the question. No one's saying you're right or wrong, but if you actually see actual smoke, maybe there's a fire there. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just smoke. But the idea that everything we see is the truth is that's hogwash.
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited for this first episode, Chris.
Oh, cool. Well, I was going to add one other thing that I've noticed, because living in Kingston, Ontario, a lot of old heritage here. Up the way in Montreal, they had an MK Ultra plant or whatever, which is just so I'm like, so because my story in my comic book is based here, and I'm going off of a lot of histories and stuff. So, man, that is one that I've been diving into lately. Yeah.
It's crazy how it's tied as like the celebrities too. And,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing the thing's awesome. Like
right.
That's one of the best. If you can't sleep at night, just type in MK Ultra Wikipedia page, and you'll go down a 4-hour rabbit hole. And maybe it's all garbage, but what if some of it isn't? And the idea that the government can control people like Manchurian Candidate type stuff to do stuff. I mean, trying to think. You look at the Las Vegas shooting where the guy. I mean, it happened, and then a week later, hush, everyone shut up. You don't know what happened to this guy, what happened. And then the stories start coming out that this guy was just a normal guy, but he was brainwashed or told to do this. He's a perfect patsy for it because he's off his medication. Or the kid from Sandy Hook, they said that he was told he was off his meds. And they find these people that, and I'm not saying maybe they did do it. I just find that when something happens and it gets covered up a week later or 2 weeks later, no one's talking about it. Like, I still have friends on that tour, at that show, that still don't have questions answered about stuff they saw, they reported on, that never got released to the public in terms of gunmen, what type of fire was, what type of ammunitions. And it's like, why is that? Like, why can't we as humans and citizens know what actually happened? Because the 5,000 to 10,000 people there know what happened, but they're not. It's crazy. Like that's the whole other thing too. The whole brainwashing and making someone do something, and the whole thing's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's I've been loving that lately. That is my YouTube research right now, because I've gone over the moon a lot. So I'm the MK, and the MK, as I mentioned, being in Montreal, that's pretty decent because that's so close. I almost want to drive there and check out where everything used to be, just because I can, Plus, that'd be a good episode actually too if I actually did drive out there to where it all happened. That'd be cool.
And here's the thing too: what if they actually were doing all that stuff there? Like, it gets labeled the MK Ultra building in that area, but what if it actually was?
Yeah.
And it's like people just, oh, whatever.
Well, there's no better place to do it than Montreal. because
Yeah.
you know they
Great
yeah.
poutine. Yeah.
Before we let you go, John. Now, Chris has not seen Doctor Strange.
No, I have
You
not.
did. I did, and you did. So I'm gonna
Yes.
just say I'm gonna get you to answer this question about what you thought about it, but you're not allowed to give anything away. So here you go. Speaking of conspiracy
Okay.
theories, so Doctor Strange, was it everything you were hoping it would be, or was it less than what you were hoping? Let's go with that.
So the problem that I've had with the Marvel MCU fan base has been that they have these expectations about certain stuff. Oh, this person's going to be in it. This is going to happen. It's based on this comic book arc written, this 4-part series written by Stan Lee and based in Earth 617. What I mean, all this stuff, and it's like I went in there knowing the gist of what based on the WandaVision show, Loki, the whole multiverse opening up. And I'm very familiar with the comic books. From a true, if I don't expect to see any cameos. I didn't expect to see different stuff. Right? Even that trailer they released the day before the movie, I was like, why would you show that? But I know how people are. And I'm kind of like, you know what? Sam Raimi needs to direct more. His direction, his horror comedy, his subtle touches back to Evil Dead and all that stuff, masterful. Danny Elfman crushed the soundtrack as he usually does. I thought Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, was amazing. I thought the whole cast was great. There's a couple of parts where I'm kind of like, I get why they did it to make everyone happy, but from a sheer storytelling point, I wish the movie was longer.
Nice.
And I thought it was really cool how it was done. I love the horror aspects. There's some gruesome stuff in it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty scary.
Yeah, it's good, man. It pushes the PG-13 for definitely for DC.
My daughter was like, and then I jumped again, like, because we went and it was a whole thing, but it's yeah. So okay, well, we'll leave it at that because I don't want to ruin it for Chris, but
That's okay. Yeah, I probably anyway. Yeah, it's cool. I got to watch Venom tonight. I'm gonna watch Venom after this.
Did you watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer?
Oh yes, we did a spot on that, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, wow! I am so
what did
excited
you think
for
of?
that.
And what did you think of in its entirety, the whole Boba Fett series?
Well, yeah, we had that was a week because we studied that one too and talked about it, right? And
like crazy. Yeah,
that was the first time we had guests on that were like, I hated it, I loved it. Like it was just like going at each other. So that was a good one for Brent and I though, because we could kind of sit in the middle and just listen to everybody who liked it and disliked it. Of course there were some spots that I thought could have been worked on, but I'm again an 80s kid and I just love Boba Fett, man. And I like to see the redemption of Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit. I love the theme of all these new Star Wars shows is the redemption. There's some stuff in there I wasn't too cool with, but for the most part, I like. What did you think of it, John?
I grew up. I love Star Wars. I love all that Star Trek, anything Battlestar Galactica, whatever it is. I love all of it. I love the sci-fi. I love the worlds they create. But I'm not attached to them to the point where I hate certain stuff. Or it's like everyone's asking me, "Well, you live in Boston. You're a Red Sox fan. Sure. Why do you hate the Yankees?" I don't hate the Yankees. I can like my team and like your team. And so when I watched Cad Bane appear for the first time, or who's that evil Chewbacca-looking guy? I mean, I love seeing these characters pop up, or Boba riding the Rancor or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, man, this is so cool. Like this is like
Cad
I get
Bane
why maybe
awesome.
I get why super fans would be maybe upset about certain stuff or approaches to things, but man, we're living in a day and age where we can see a live action show based on Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I thought.
Could it be done better? Sure. But here's the thing: the 97 Bulls, they could have won one more game, but they didn't. So we just accept what we have and hold people accountable. Hey, man, do a good job what you're doing. But man, just from a sheer kid watching that, I mean, I'm just like, dude, this is when Cad Bane starts talking to him, I'm just like, dude, this is the best.
I was smacking my wife. It's Cad Bane. It's Cad Bane. It's Cad Bane. It was like, holy cow. And then Black K in there, the other Wookiee, the only Wookiee that knocked Chewie out ever. And I have that. And the other thing I like about this is a little selfish, but when they show these characters, the first appearance of their comic book, it always goes up. So when I see them, I'm partially cheering because I'm like, yes, But I'm also cheering because my comic collection is going up in value. But yeah, Cad Bane, and I've been calling that one on the show a bit. I was like, people were asking, what bounty hunter would you like to say? And I would always say Cad Bane. They'd be like, not Bosk. Because, Cad Bane, you have to be in there to really know Cad Bane. Because he's only in the Clone Wars series in that, right?
What's the conspiracy theory where they're trying to rewrite or get rid of the last 3 Star Wars movies?
Oh, man.
I was reading that the other day where they're trying to basically not make them part of canon, but not, where they go back and redo the events of the last 3 movies. Whatever the last 3 were.
I got to look into that because I have not.
Well,
heard
Chris,
that
I think it touches on what we were talking about. So I think Jon Favreau and that team have been
Filoni and all that
have been given carte blanche to work within the situation to fix all this shit that it ends up on the internet. So people go, how did this happen? Well, I bet you out of Obi-Wan, you're going to get answers as to why this is this and this is this. Yeah. Like we talked about this in Boba Fett a bit, Chris, and what I loved, we're getting a tour of Tatooine.
Yeah.
We're getting a tour of this and like even the tiny little things of where they were, like even in Mandalorian and this, like where they were storing the speeder bikes.
Well, see, that's why we were enjoying it, right? And
on a rebel ship.
Right, Brent? Yeah. People are picking this apart, and Brent and I are like, but then you get to see where the stormtroopers hang out, man. So they're just hanging out at a vending machine. Yeah, but that's what we want to see. This is great.
It's like they did it. So when Saturday Night Live did it with what's his name as
the hidden boss guy.
Yeah, the Kylo Ren, and it's like they're all in a they're all in a cafeteria and stuff.
So good.
So that's what I like. I mean, for me, it's like a playground that's been created for us. And even though they say Star Wars Land at Disney is for the kids, there's no way it's for the kids. It's for us because we get a playground now. It's for the dads that don't want to be at Disney or the moms that are like, I hate Disney. He's the Disney head. I'm going to go to Star Wars Land. It's for us. And what I think, John, to the point of like about these last 3, Chris has his very strong opinion about the last 3 movies. I didn't share that at first, but have come around to it. Not because we're co-hosts on a show together, but it makes a little bit more sense.
Well, I like the first one. The second one,
I think
it was how as soon as Luke Skywalker threw that lightsaber away, it was like, oh, where's this going? I'm thinking, where's my hero? Where's my Luke Skywalker? I've been waiting decades to see this guy, and basically I felt that they pissed all over my hero, Luke Skywalker, and I was really upset about that. And
I think that Favreau and Filoni have been given carte blanche to fix all that. So I think you're going to see like everything they do now will be about trying to make sense of those last 3, but making them good for us.
Yeah.
Because if they are going to go to 10, 11, and 12, which we hear they're going to do, I mean, that's the opportunity to wrap it up and just have that sort of be like the new Hobbit series.
Well, Obi-Wan 2, and we also discussed this in the past show, and John, you might want to weigh in on this, is the most untapped character in Star Wars right now has got to be Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. Like, Darth Vader, how does he not have his own solo movie or his own TV show? Man, what's Darth Vader like to you? You know what I mean? As a character.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like growing up, he was always the evil one, or he was always the guy in black that you saw. If he's there, he's about to destroy everyone. He is the counterbalance to the good, and the original was episodes 4, 5, and 6, or how'd they film? Yeah, right. And so you're kind of like they created this character, and then how they got rid of him and attacked the clones, I believe, or how he got killed or left on that rock. Or I mean, I'm not a Star Wars nerd. I know enough to talk about in layman's terms, but I've always been curious about that. Like, why isn't he like how they did the Minions movie where they made Groot like the whole star of his own movie? Like, make Darth Vader like what if he was like a really happy dude? Like, what if he's like trying to be evil? Like, why is he in more cartoons or merchandise? Like, it seems so weird that I think we've got to the point where let's try and do as many shows or have made live episodes with obscure characters that are awesome. Yeah. But your meat and potatoes, I still don't know enough about. I still don't know enough about Anakin Skywalker. I don't know. I know how he got there. I know what happened, but why is he ticked the way he does? Like, I want to know right now how he felt killing those kids.
Yeah, right,
like,
right.
where's his mental health after that? At what point in his life does he come to the realization that, holy crap, I did that? Like,
Did the Empire have an HR department? You know?
Yeah, help it. But check this out, John. So Marvel Comics is doing solo Darth Vader comic books that go in between A New Hope and Empire, and in between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and they're going to be canon. So what we see right after the Death Star explodes is Palpatine taking it all out on Darth Vader / Anakin, because he's just fresh Darth Vader right after A New Hope, right? So what the comic book does is really focuses on the mind games that Emperor plays with Vader, and Vader thinking like, man, maybe I should just like take him out. Like maybe, and so the Palpatine always has somebody in waiting to take Vader down. In the comic book, it's like Vader will take off on a mission, and Palpatine's like, yeah, go follow him. If he screws up and he's weak, kill him. And it's amazing. There's one part in the comic book where Palpatine strips Vader of all his techie stuff and sends him to a planet and says, prove to me that you can survive, that you're still a powerful Sith. So he's down there with no lightsaber, nothing. So this is and the stories are amazing, buddy. They're great. So if they can get even a shred of this into the TV show, man, I am so
Chris,
stoked.
I think they're going to do that. I think that's how they're going to start.
Yeah, because
I think that's how they're going to.
He seems like the hero.
No, I think that's how they're going to start the Darth Vader series out of Obi-Wan. I think you're gonna see the Death Star blow up, the whole thing, and then it's gonna cut to him stripping all the shit off and sending him to a thing and saying, "We'll see you when we see you."
That would be great.
I think that'd be awesome.
Do you think there's any chance they could portray, like, who says he was bad this whole time?
Well,
like, what if they do it from his point of view, where it's like, man, all of his actions, again, we see all the movie stuff, but this show could go in there and be like, this is why he actually did this, and you're like, well, shit, I would have done the same thing as a father or as a son or whatever. And like, I get it now. Now I get why he killed those kids, or I get why he did this. It's like you start having this redemption arc for a truly vile character.
Yes, you make him the hero, right?
That maybe he wasn't vile this whole time. Maybe he was just misunderstood.
Such untapped. Like that's what we were discussing, trying to find the most, because everybody's like, oh, well, everything's been done in this and that. It's like, no, man, Darth Vader hasn't even been touched yet. And in the comic book, it's great because he is the hero and Palpatine's the villain. And Palpatine treats Vader so bad, dude. Like, I felt so bad. Like, so I bought the Vader comic, and this was a few years ago when it first came out. And I bought, okay, Darth Vader comic book, cool. And I'm halfway through, and I'm feeling for Vader. And he goes to places like he sends Boba Fett to find out who that pilot was in the Millennium Falcon, or in the X-wing. He sends Boba Fett. He says, go, and Palpatine's not supposed to know, but he does know that he's trying to find young Skywalker. And he says to Vader, he says, so, Palpatine, like, so, hey, Vader, you going to find him? Vader's like, oh, no, sir, no, I'm worshiping you, And meanwhile, Palpatine's like, son of a bitch, just lied to me. Follow him. So the Crimson Dawn is just waiting to take down Vader, who is in this Obi-Wan series coming up too. So yeah, John, I'm really stoked for that, because his character is so untapped and so many layers, so deep.
I love it.
Yeah,
John, thanks for joining us this week, buddy. It's awesome, man. It's great to see you on short notice, but really awesome that you come here. Appreciate and we'll get you more information when Chris is going to launch, but it's not far away.
Oh no, soon.
And tell us what's going on with you, where everybody can find you, and all this killer merch you just got out.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I have host the other podcast called Spear Talk. It's on the Dean Blundell Network. Basically, I host, or I interview guests of various backgrounds every week, either from archaeologists to authors to professional wrestlers to military guys to martial artists to conservationists. We just have an hour-long conversation about life and our lives and how everything's shaped around it. And that's streaming all over. And I have a YouTube channel that's we just passed 14,000 subscribers.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And we just launched new merch. I had Tim Jacobus, the illustrator, basically the cover artist for Goosebumps, design a poster for me.
Nice.
New merch out there. So everything is going really well, and it's just really cool that, again, like we talked at the start of the show. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if this is something I'd want to do once the world opened back up, and now I can't stop thinking about different ideas and how to grow it even more. And I just love the slow burn of it, and I love that organically it's getting out there. And I just had 3 new people buy merch items from 3 different countries this past week.
Wow.
That found the podcast based on a guest. And so I love the idea that if I can be part of something, and the Dean Blundell Network has allowed me to unequivocally be myself. And I think it's something necessary where a podcast network like Dean's lets people of, and I say this, let people of all different backgrounds be themselves. It helps a podcaster or someone like us to be ourselves and put ourselves out there for maybe there's other people like us that want to listen or partake in what we do. And I can't thank the network enough for that.
Well, welcome to the family, my friend. Awesome. Very, very
We
cool.
love having you on there, buddy, and we love you making time for us and the show all the time. Details to come on when Chris launches, but I think that's going to be a must-watch episode. Tune into John. Spear Talk podcast, awesome. Go check him out on YouTube. All the rest of it, you can find everything on Dean Blundell Network with us. And Johnny, we'll see you soon, man. Appreciate the time, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Keep kicking ass.
Right.
Thanks,
Take
man.
care, buddy.
See you in a while.
Bye.
Nice.
Fun stuff,
Oh,
man.
he's a rad dude. I love talking about
Yeah.
that stuff, and he does too. I could listen to people talk about their views on conspiracy theories all day long, man. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, and John's, and kudos to the growth on his show has just exploded. It's got to be
Good for him.
the fastest growing show or biggest explosion of a show on the network.
Our most viewed video is the one that has him in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really, really great. And anyways, I'm super stoked that he's going to come on with you for your launch of your show, which I think we're only a couple of weeks away from getting up and running. So that's great.
Oh yeah, yep.
So
it's been really busy here. We're ready to go.
We'll do that. We've only got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah,
but
let's talk about the Leafs and how the coach screwed up that. What? Okay, so do you want to play the little graphic, or is that?
Well, sure. You know what? Let's do this. There is something floating around from Sheldon Creeve about his. He was asked a question by a reporter in Toronto, which everyone hates, but regardless, he asked the question about why he would start a game with your quote unquote worst defenseman. Maybe tune up your stuff here a little bit.
Who's our worst defenseman? It's your opinion, I guess.
Doesn't look very happy, does he?
Well, he fucked the game up for the team. Okay, first of all, you're starting the third line. What are you doing? You're starting Hole. What are you doing? Why are you even changing the lineup? Why are you Lightning have the same lineup? Why are you changing the lineup? Okay, I see. What's his name? Clifford got hurt. Or no, Clifford got suspended. Then you bring Bunting back in. That's great. Now, why is Bunting not on the top line? What the hell did Bunting do to get bumped from the first line to the fourth line? And what is that going to do to that poor kid's confidence? And why is Kerfoot on the first line? He's a great utility guy. I love him as a utility guy. He's not on the first line. What the hell was he thinking? Dude, again, this is what blows my mind because I'm not like I play hockey now. Woo! But how come a guy like me can sit back and text my dad and go, yeah, and he's saying the same thing, you're saying the same thing, and this guy does not see it?
There's something about this game that is quite interesting to me because, if I go back to when, say, the Canucks, for instance, were in the Stanley Cup final, that to me was like the best team to never win a cup. How did they lose? Everyone's like, Vigneault got out-coached in the end. I'm like, out-coached? Here's the thing. I'm always saying to myself, why do these guys even need to be coached?
Right.
And I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say. They've played hockey their whole life. So you might have somebody that might be like, well, okay, we noticed this, so you need to change this. Just like anything else. It's like, we noticed this, so you might need to change this. We noticed this in your game. But at this level, playing for the Stanley Cup, do you really, is it really that of a big of a thing? And then I look at what happened in that last game. Yeah. I mean, there is a serious out coaching aspect that could happen here. That's why, to me, when what's his nuts from Tampa Bay, the coach for Tampa Bay, who's won 2 Stanley Cups in a row, Cooper goes, You scored 7 goals in a guy.
But
I'm not
you-
worried about that.
You were
guy.
mentioning that maybe that got inside Campbell's head.
Yeah.
I don't think it got inside Campbell's head, but I think it got inside the coach's head. I think he got inside Keefe's head. So
Well, I think it got in touch. I think it got in the players' heads.
Well, I don't think there's no way they would let that get to Campbell, buddy. There's no way.
It's
Campbell
just-
goes from that game with headphones on, not hearing. I guarantee he's not hearing any media, but the coach is because he had to answer it. And then what does the coach do? The coach panics and starts changing things that don't need to be changed. Now, why the Leafs always do this is beyond me. Again, I understand Clifford got suspended and you weren't going to keep him anyway. Bunting comes back in, yada yada, whatever. I just don't understand. Hole, why? What did Liljegren do so bad that deserved Hole to be brought in? Was like, and we've discussed this before. We know that Hole is Marner's best buddy. Is that? Here's my conspiracy theory: is that to make Marner happy?
Okay, so
what the heck? And then starting Hole.
The thing is that okay, so you put tweaks in all the time. Sometimes you get lightning in a bottle. Sometimes you'll go because it's like it's in baseball. It's anything. Why did you leave that guy in for the 7th inning and not pull him in the 6th? Because in the 7th inning he gave up a game-winning home run. But if he leaves him until the 8th and he wins the game, he looks like a genius. It's the same thing with hockey. It's like
know baseball.
But it's the same.
Somebody out there did understand that though. Probably
it's the same premise in hockey. It's like why is Hole starting now? If Hole scored 3 goals and prevented 2, and they win, it looks like the most genius thing in the world. So I did same thing with like when the Canucks didn't start Schneider in game 3 or 4. In Boston. Okay. Luongo clearly was going to get his ass handed to him in Boston. And he got his ass handed to him. And it's like, well, then put Schneider in. You guys won the Jennings together. Put him in for 1 game for fuck's sakes. Put him in. And that to me is what cost him the Stanley Cup. Little things like last night. That's the thing that cost team playoff rounds. And now we're down to a best 2 out of 3 against the Stanley Cup winning champions and a goalie that, Vasilevsky's stat. Do you see Vasilevsky's stat?
No, I know.
He's
get it.
never lost a game when they've lost a game. The next night, 16-0. He's never lost a game after they lose a game.
See, the coach is installing panic in everybody. When you change a system that everybody feel is working, and then the coach goes in and changes things, and even the players are like, "Oh shit." You know what I mean? Like, wow, what's going on here? Why wouldn't he start the game with Matthews line? I don't. And then on defense, like get Gianardo out there and TJ Brody what are you doing?
This is why this team
I'm asking why was Kerfoot on the top line? What did Bunting do? What happened there?
I think the coach was just like, let's just make a change and try it up. Stupid shit.
You don't do that in the playoffs. That's such a green mistake. That is such as in drawing. All right, I know how to draw a picture. This is how I do it. I got a plan. You know what I'm going to throw in this picture, Brent? A nice little butterfly in the corner. That might make this picture of hell better.
You're right.
No, I'm just saying, right? Like, to
look
me,
at
like that's how my brain works. With not
look
with the
what
baseball.
They're up against right now, Chris. Let's say Tampa wins tomorrow night.
Well, now it's too late. This is after he's just.
Let's say Tampa wins. Let's say Tampa wins tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then Toronto comes back and wins game 6.
Right.
Keeping with Vasilevsky's stats, that means he's not going to lose game 7 because he's never lost a game after he loses. I'm just saying, if you're going with the stats. So if you go the other way, Toronto wins tomorrow night, right? That means Vasilevsky's not going to lose game 6, which means you go to game 7 against the Stanley Cup champions and a hotter goalie than Campbell. I'm telling you.
Well, he's a hotter goalie. Any scenario, no stats.
They needed to win that game.
Well, they did.
And they needed to win that game. And to go out like that, I mean, they're really in tough shape, man. And if they lose this first round series, man, that city's going to burn to the ground. And
Keith will be gone.
Everyone's got to go. Everyone's got to go.
Dude, the Lightning have not changed a thing, right?
Why would they? Cooper knows what to do. He knows what.
What I'm saying, like Sheldon Keefe would have sat Maroon, and possibly Corey Perry. He didn't. He kept him in the game. Dude, he got a goal. They both did. Corey got 2 and Maroon got 1. Now, what did he do to his fourth line? Like there was only one guy in there for yeah, dude. It's just I don't hear that again. If you and I and my dad are asking what, right? If we're asking why are you doing this,
Dude, I'm with you.
I
know
know.
what you're saying.
So I get a little flustered because they started so well. They should have just keep that lineup. Believe in them. And I also know what it feels like when somebody all of a sudden doesn't believe in you, man. That sucks. That sucks.
I really, because it's like anything else. It's like, oh, if they could get past these guys, then they've just got this. But then you look at what Boston's doing to Florida and all the rest of it. It's like it doesn't. There's no such thing as easy now.
Nope.
There's absolutely, because every team is basically the same. Florida's having a hard time, and they were like number 1 in the league. They were the number 1 team on the
Ovi won the
rush,
game for them,
on
man.
the rush.
Ovi came in there and said, "You know what? Yeah, this one's on me,
You know
guys."
who's doing it? Joe Pavelski in Dallas.
Yep.
39
deal,
years
right?
old, walking all over Calgary. I'm telling you, it like there are no guarantees in this thing other than consistency, and Cooper has been consistent for years.
Yeah.
So if they get past Toronto, they're going to me. It's like they're going to the Stanley Cup final then, because who can stop that kind of confidence? So,
well, again, like your buddy said there, who was on the show, put Matthews on the ice as much as you can. If you can start Matthews, start him. What the hell is wrong with you? I could start Matthews, but nah, I'm going to start the third line. What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean, there's matchups. So
dude,
there's matchups, but yes, you
as
want
much as possible.
You know what I mean? But I mean, maybe the thing is, if you start that first line and they don't match up against, the thing, I just don't understand.
And that did not match up because, man, so there's a perfect example. He started the third line and the weakest defense he could come up with, and they hemmed them in there for a minute and a half and scored.
Keith's gone.
Oh, dude, as soon as it started that game, I was like,
Shanahan's gone. The kid's gone.
Oh, geez, get Harry Potter out of there.
They're all gone. Anyways.
Nylander will be, I keep Matthews and Marner, and if you can, Giordano and that Labushkin guy, and just.
I don't think Giordano's gonna stay. I love him. He's a Toronto boy, but I think he got a taste of Seattle. I think he's gonna play the market. It's gonna be a very fun off season.
Well,
a team like Minnesota or something like that is so close. I mean, that's where
we'll see. We'll see how Toronto does here and everything. It's hard to get inside their heads, right? Who would I would have thought that? What was that dude's name from Phoenix there who wrote his career out there? Shane Doan. Guy could have basically went to any team he wanted to at the end there to do a playoff run. He's like, no, I got nothing to do.
Golf. It's as much as Phoenix gets shit on, none of the players want to leave there ever. Because it's golf, it's Arizona, no one knows who you are. You're a millionaire, you're chilling out. But anyways, it's Toronto in a 7-game series playing how well they were playing going into it. I was like, yeah, I think it's going to go to 7, but I think that they have a shot. Now, with the way it's gone through, and I'm not, I want them to go through it, but the scenario is ugly either way. If they win, they got to beat them, and they got to beat them basically 2 in a row. Vasilevsky never loses 2 in a row, which means you're gambling on a game 7.
Yeah. Well, look at last year, man. Toronto had a 3-game lead and they lost. So the stats on that are something too. I get the stats, I understand that, but I'm still blown away that a coach lost the game for us, man.
Well, there's something to be said about it because, like, say Boudreaux out here, people are like, we love him, but he can't win in the playoffs.
No, that's
right. Some of these guys, Cooper can win in the playoffs and in the regular season. Some of these guys are just really, really, really good, and Toronto is still searching for this guy.
I think it's a lot like you got to be confident. You got to be confident. And you got like Keith. He's panicking. He lost a game and he panicked, and he's like, "Let's shuffle the cards up and do this." Whoa, hey man. And again, how did he come to out of all the options? How did he come with that conclusion?
Matthew, these guys. Riley, Matthews, Marner, these guys got to basically step up and say, we got this, but you got to get your shit together for round 2. We'll take care of this.
Matthews doesn't play on shorthanded, so you're not going to have Matthews on the ice for those. So why wouldn't you play him when you have the option to? Yeah. Hey, Sheldon Keefe. Nice knowing you.
All right. Everyone buy this from Chris.
Yeah. Everyone come buy it.
Everyone come buy it. Go visit Chris on all the places right here. Well, the Etsy store doesn't exist anymore. I have to update that. Sorry.
Well,
but you can follow Chris. You can follow Chris Machete, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all the places to get what you need from him.
Yep.
we are live again on the Dean Blundell Network. Thanks to our friends there for hosting us all the time. Really great stuff. Chris has got a brand new show coming out, as we said. It's coming out in a couple of weeks.
The Cult of Machete, my friends.
The Cult of Machete.
Let's get some answers. And I want people to come on my show, as many as possible. I don't care if your theories are super crazy. Just nothing offensive, man. I'll be the judge of that.
And we'll be back soon. You got to see the Doctor Strange because I got to talk to you about that.
I'm actually going to watch Venom 2 tonight, I think. And then I'm going to watch Spider-Man, and then we'll get Doctor Strange in there.
Yeah.
I've been so busy, and it's good, man. Like I say, I've converted from music school owner to a comic book art owner, and it's great.
I'll just say I haven't been the biggest Doctor Strange guy.
Oh, he's awesome.
I understand that, but I'm just, do I have to like all of them? This took me on a bit of a journey. Kids loved it. Got scared. Rhonda was great.
Wanda's awesome, yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Great stuff, dude. All right, well, go Leafs go, right?
Go Leafs go, for God's sakes. Do something.
Look to the skies, my friend, and then tell me what you find.
That is the Kids on the Escalator for another week. Thanks for friends at DeanBlundell.com. Thanks to John Guarnari from Spear Talk for coming on. Keep paying attention. Chris has got a brand new show coming out. That is the Kids on the Escalator podcast for another Monday night. Good times.
Mad dudes, party on. Be excellent to each other.
Rock on, everybody.